I am on board for the Sens being way better. You can sell me on that. I am not on board for the Boston Bruins erasure that you have seen online. Listen, the Senators had 73 points last year. They are unquestionably better. You could make the argument that last year's team was better than 73 points. And with the additions that they've made, and we'll get into it, I want to know what the odds makers have them at, because they're better, but I'm not sure they're there yet. Jesse, what do we have?
We have 86.5 is their over-under.
At sportsinteraction.com/STPN.
Man, that's really high.
That is high. That would be a 15-point swing.
It's too high. It's too high, guys. If you want to
The
put your
rent's
money
too damn
anywhere,
high.
put your money on the under.
And you know what? You know what really screws it up? Because no other team in the league has a significant trade coming and an obvious significant trade coming. The Ottawa Senators are getting Jacob Chychrun. They're getting him.
Well, they need to.
I don't know.
It's to the point where I'm tired of it. Just do it. Just do the trade. They're getting Jacob Chychrun.
You're so convinced on this.
I'm so convinced, and I'm tired of hearing about it every single day. Just shut up and kiss. It's no, seriously, it's gonna happen, and that to me, kiss it. That to me changes the outlook of the team.
But we can't base our projection on that right now.
You could convince me to take the over if they got him in the next week.
Here's where I think you take the over. If you believe Jake Sanderson's for real this season. I think Jake Sanderson's for real.
He looked real good.
And it's looking like he might take Eric Brandstrom's power play time, which is going to be fascinating. But again, until Chychrun shows up, your top is Shabbat. Great. Hamonic. Yeah. And they spend assets to get Hamonic. The other question I have with Chychrun is, do they not have him but Thomas Shabbat? Like, is he not another Shabbat?
What's wrong with having two?
It's a lot of Shabbats.
Also, what are you spending? Like, what are you taking away from this lineup to get Chychrun? Like, I don't think we can't evaluate it from that point.
I think they're trying to fire Zaitsev to Arizona. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Well, you'll have to tie Brandstrom to him, and we don't have to make the trade right now. I'm just saying, shut up and kiss. It's gonna happen.
Okay, so then let's go with what we know and what we have.
Yeah.
The Sens aren't leapfrogging the Bruins this year, guys. That'll happen next year.
I don't think so, and it's not against the Sens. I really believe in the Bruins.
Let's talk about the additions up front, okay? Starting with Alex DeBrincat. The surprise trade of the summer, and what a spectacular ad at 24 years old.
It's pretty rare you can get a player under 25 who is a free space for 40 goals. That's not fair. Not fair.
And
they're better automatically.
I mean, you got him for the 7th overall pick, but you got him for the 7th overall pick?
Like, I mean, they didn't take away from their roster.
No.
At all. So they get to continue to build. Remember how they evaluate this team internally. Last year, they said they were done rebuilding and got worse.
Yep.
Now, sometimes that happens, and sometimes things don't go your way, and a lot of things didn't go their way, and Thomas Shabbat missed a lot of games, and that's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be real bad. But they're spending money this year, and they got a free space for 40 goals.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up the Coyotes and the Sens, and you're like, just kiss already.
Just kiss.
It felt a little like that with Claude Giroux coming back to his hometown.
That's a great example.
It seems like with the Senators, you almost know what they're going to do before they do it. Because that's, the DeBrincat thing, that was rumored. Claude Giroux was like 3 years ago. You're like, well, Giroux might go back. You just never know. They might be making a trade for him.
They're like a tall building in Saskatchewan. You can see it from miles away.
Right. Claude Giroux is a veteran. Claude Giroux's had a ton of success. What's he bringing to this team now?
He's bringing an elite playmaking skill to just feed Alex DeBrincat all day long. And he can also friggin' snipe on you. I think they're going to get... The Sens are... And this matters for the over-under conversation, and it matters for the standings. The Sens this offseason became a way, way better 3-on-3 overtime team. And Giroux still brings that even at his age. And they became a way, way better shootout team. They're going to steal... I would throw at least an extra half dozen points in the extra frame because of that. Giroux brings versatility, that he can play center. I don't really know if that's what he does at this point in his career. You probably got that handled with Tim Stützle and Josh Norris.
Well, the lineup as it stands is going to be DeBrincat, Stützle, and Giroux.
That's disgusting.
Like, how did teams deal with that?
That's their best top line since when?
I mean,
Heatley, Alfredson, Spezza?
Yeah, just going to say.
That's gross. That's grotesque.
And technically speaking, I don't know what you call a first line, but everybody has that listed as the second line because Tkachuk, Norris, and Batherson are considered the first line.
Not bad to have 2 first lines, is it?
No, never. Now, it's great that they have that, but again, you look at that and you go, okay, that's fantastic. What do they have on the third and fourth line, like their depth? Because usually bad teams have bad depth, right? Teams on the upswing usually have some high scoring power, which they have, but like Detroit, we're lacking a little bit. Formanton, Pinto, Matthew Joseph, not a bad third line.
That's all right.
Don't hate that. Tyler Mott, Dylan Gramble, and Austin Watson. I mean, Austin Watson's got a role.
Or Parker Kelly in there, maybe.
Yeah, I like the addition of Tyler Mott, who they were able to get sort of late in the offseason, but something that hurts I don't really know if he was a bottom 6 player on the team, but losing Connor Brown, getting a second round pick for him that's all right, but losing him, his scoring touch, his penalty killing ability, just his work ethic, for as much as they've added up front, I feel like that hurts, and we're sort of only taking into account the Sens additions and not the subtractions.
Yeah, agreed. And another subtraction is Cam Talbot for, they're saying, 2 months.
Yeah, God, that's really unfortunate. And they're one of the teams around the league where if they suffer another injury, they're in so much trouble. I mean, how many teams around the league can really afford to lose both their starter and backup?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a criticism of the Ottawa Senators, but Cam Talbot is out long-term enough that it's the sort of thing that can affect their season. Mm-hmm. Can Anton Forsberg hold the fort while Cam Talbot is out? Of course he can.
Can you recover from a bad first month?
Can he recover from a bad first month? But also, are you going to potentially overwork this guy? You could overwork
Which leads
him.
to other injuries?
You could overwork him and he gets hurt. You could overwork him and he's not as good as he could be. Or you could properly work him, but how good's your backup going to be?
Jesse, what are your thoughts on the Sens here? It looks like you want to jump in.
I think the Cam Talbot injury might have changed the fortunes of the entire season for the Ottawa Senators. And if this is a team that gets off to a slow start, I don't see themselves in an opportunity to dig out of that hole. It's a very tough division. It's a very tough conference. And the first 2 months are going to be a slog for the Senators. And if they don't get off to a very hot start, I see them just treading water for the rest of the season, and next year being the season where DJ Smith comes out and says playoffs are bust. That should be the season where they're going for it. And it might be a regression. It might be a steady this season where you're improving a little, like all the young guys look better, but they don't move up the standings that much. And that should be okay because this franchise bought themselves some time. All of the deals they made this offseason, Senators fans should be very happy with the direction of the franchise. And this isn't a 1-year thing. This isn't a 2-year thing. You have a solid core here for the next little while. And be patient with this team. This might not be the year that they do the thing and they make the playoffs.
Next year, though.
Next year, then you got some expectations and, hey, put this thing together or we're going to be upset.
What are your expectations of Brady Tkachuk this year?
Oh, boy. I think he's going to take the ball and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Media Day, which we all know is a very big thing, Adam. But we also forget he didn't have a very good start to last year, and part of that was the contract thing.
Yeah,
it was cool. It was a uplifting moment to have him say "hooray" to the fans from the press box for Game 1. It'd be better on the ice.
Yes, absolutely. 67 points in 79 games. You would expect that if he's healthy, he's going to improve on that. Ottawa, definitely due to improve on our rankings this year. Where do you have them, guys?
This is the first time I've believed in Canadian media bias. I feel like Detroit is everything that we are saying Ottawa is, but we're giving them none of the due. I wish I could have ranked Detroit 5.5. I can't, so I have them 6th and Ottawa 5th.
Jesse.
It's way too high. I have the Senators in 6th place in the division.
I'm pained to put Ottawa ahead of Detroit, but then if I put Detroit ahead of Ottawa, I'd be also pained. I think Ottawa can do it, and I think they've got the youth and the spirit and that little bit of an edge on Detroit. I would give, if they were playing head to head in a series, and this is how I made the decision, I would give it to Ottawa. So Ottawa in 5th.
No, Adam, that's one spot higher than Jesse, so it's way too high.
It's way too high.